Okay, everyone, we just got to get going because today is election day. This is Tuesday, November 4th. It's 6:01 p.m. We have a full schedule with lots of guest appearances today, folks who are just going to come directly to you and talk about why local elections are so important. And something you'll hear throughout this broadcast, not only the fact that I've lost my voice, but we're going to power through it, but it's to get out to vote. If you haven't voted, what are you doing? What are you doing? Just get out. It takes 5 minutes. If you check if your spouse has voted, I have to check if my spouse has voted. Check if your friends and neighbors have voted in your local area. This is how we exercise our democracy. And throughout this conversation, as we have guest appearances on, please feel free to give a shout in the chat, engage, let them know how that you voted, and you're always welcome to thank our amazing elected officials and candidates who are joining us tonight for their willingness to serve and represent us. For those I haven't met, hi. My name is Kevin McAvey, and I live in Bedford, New York, with my beautiful wife and amazing 3 children. I work in New York City, but travel across the country, helping states to design more effective healthcare systems, helping to improve healthcare delivery, outcomes, and affordability amid a very broken system. I'm also a leading national advocate through several organizations and boards of good evidence-based government, and I am a lifelong Democrat. And something happened earlier this year that I wanted to take a moment to reflect on with you today. March 1st, it was a Saturday. It was sunny and the kids were all over the place. The printer was jammed and I was late. And so I grabbed my notes and I left our home and I shot down Bedford Road past our beautiful school and our newest temple and our hospital where my wife and I delivered our 3 kids to Mount Kisco to do something I had never done before, which was speak up. That day, I shared the following. New Yorkers powered the development of our nation and remained a beacon of national conscience, speaking as only New Yorkers can with clarity and directness and authority about what is right and what is wrong. And I was there to represent our collective voice in saying, cutting Medicaid is wrong. At the time, I had seen proposals circulated on the Hill, presaging the one big beautiful bill. I had heard from, meeting with state leaders across our expansive country, the universal concern that we were entering a period of unmoored policymaking, not attached to reason or facts or the values that make that so many of us hold dear. Of how, in the richest nation in the world, concentrated among so few, it should not be a privilege to feel safe, to be seen and respected and heard, regardless of your race or ethnicity or sexual orientation or identity. It should not be a privilege to access good schools and affordable housing and clean water or a doctor when you're sick. And so I stepped out. And with the model set forth by so many of you, I sought to step up. The past 8 months, getting to meet so many of you across the district in our spare hours between work and family has been incredibly enriching and rewarding. Hearing about our local issues and elevating them, trying to use our social media, and I appreciate your forgiveness from time to time as I still work out the kinks, and pressing back on our representative, spotlighting our candidates, and connecting our community. And it is my sincere hope that today, on Election Day, will represent the first step in our way back. But it can only do that if you vote. I didn't want to let this moment pass without thanking all of you for being here this year and every year. It's a privilege to elevate your stories, and it's again a privilege to elevate them and our candidates and our elected officials through tonight's conversation. And so with that, I'd actually like to switch up the order, and tonight is probably not going to go as planned, and bring up Senator Shelley Mayer um, uh, uh, to join us here today. Shelley, it's so nice of you to join us and take time out of your evening.
No,
It's
there's
wonderful.
no evening. This is election day.
It's election day. It's election day. How are things going out there?
Well, I was in, let's see, Larchmont early this morning.
Mm-hmm.
I tried to do some canvassing with one of my candidates in Yonkers, but we didn't pull it off. I went to North Castle
Mm-hmm.
and did some phoning. And then I went to my voting place where I always deliver pizza to all the poll workers. And now I'm with you, and look forward to a whole bunch of events for all these local races. And that's why, Kevin, I'm so happy you're focused on that, because that is where the rubber meets the road for us as Democrats.
Absolutely. And that's kind of where that is also where you started. I mean, you didn't start off as the chair of our committee on education and a state senator. You were elected to state senate to represent the 37th district in April 2018, reelected in 2000 November that year, 20, 22, 24. But before
But
serving in state
before
senate,
that,
you were in
assembly,
assembly for
and
6
before
years.
that, I lost
You
for the
did you?
assembly. Yes, I lost.
Uh,
And before that, I tried to run for judge and I wasn't successful. So, message to all my friends, my young friends who I'm really praying for you all to get into this business with us. It's not always a win. It's not the win the first time, but we stand for something, and then in the end we'll prevail. And that's my story. I eventually won, and then I eventually was able to have a loud voice, which is what, like you said, Kevin,
yeah,
speak up. That's what we're here for. And there's never
absolutely.
been a more important time.
Yeah, so talk to me about that. What's at stake in local elections? Because I know there are people who are at home cooking dinner, and I understand there's a lot going on in our lives. But like, why take the 10 minutes after the kids, not take the 10 minutes after the kids go to bed and go out to vote? Why should people take that time?
Well, first place, local government, and forget politics, local government is where the things that really matter first order to you as a person who lives in a community, whether it's your roads, what time the garbage is picked up, the playing fields for your kids, how the school district interacts with the town, how development occurs, what's going to happen with affordable housing, zoning, all these things that people really care about are decided at a local level first. And the other thing is, there are people of principle and goodwill, and there are people who are not of goodwill in local politics. And one of the little techniques of this moment in Westchester is people are running not on a Republican line,
Mm,
but on these new lines that are to oppose traditional Democrats who are working their tails off to do their best for their towns and villages and cities. And I think it's something we've got to be mindful of. But local government is where, one, decisions are made, and two, where people start. I was first on the library board in Yonkers, where I tried 2 times to get on, by the way, with a Republican mayor, and ultimately prevailed. But this is where people get their start and where decisions are made that impact our lives so directly.
yeah. And as I've been interviewing local candidates across the district over the past week, it's been so heartening to see people who are data driven, who are planful,
Yeah.
who are really who are really giving up parts of their lives in order to serve their friends and their neighbors in local community. And that's, I think, like for me, what it means to be a Democrat, be very inclusive, really be driven by facts and evidence and values. And I think that's what we're seeing with so many candidates across the district.
Well, one thing I would add to that, and
Hmm.
and whatever you think of the New York City race, you got to say that Zoran Mondani talked and listened to people who
Hmm.
felt the Democratic Party was not talking to them.
Hmm.
You've made this point, Kevin. I've heard
Hmm.
you before. We are a party that ought to be speaking to working people.
Hmm.
We can have a Big Ten, and I'm a big believer in a Big Ten.
Yeah,
I'm fine with people who disagree about a million things, but our party has got to listen and pay attention to people who are working for a living, struggling living in Westchester, have their challenges, whether it's SNAP benefits, whether it's finding a rental place, which is impossible to do.
it is.
These are the issues that matter to Democrats, and we can't shy away from them. Otherwise, we won't have a party left.
Absolutely. So what advice, as a closing question, do you have for folks at home who haven't voted yet?
Well, one is, this is an incredible right. People
Mhm.
around the world would love to have the opportunity to pick who their council members are and their mayor is, and what the terms of their elected officials are. So I take that seriously. But secondly, it's where decisions are made that you will care about and you will complain about, and rightly so. And you are better to have someone you think has good judgment and is doing the best they can than someone who isn't. And thirdly, we want to encourage great new young people to participate in this process. We got to get them elected, and then the time will come to for the next generation to take it, and we're seeing that, and that's a great sign. Nothing to be nervous about, all to be proud of.
building up from the base. Senator Meyer, thank you for being a leader in our party for the years that you have, really leading our state in new initiatives for education and in so many ways. I so appreciate you, and I
Thank
appreciate you as
you.
a mentor.
Thank you very much. Good luck
Thank you.
tonight.
Thank you. Have a good night. So Senator Meyer, thank you so much for joining. And next, I'd love to bring up my friend and colleague, Erica Pierce. Erica, so hold on.
Hello.
I'm gonna do this right this time. She has so Senator Mayer caught me off guard. So Erica Pierce, I'm gonna give you the introduction. Has been a New York State resident for most of her life. In 2000, Eric and her husband Clay and their two young children moved up to Katona. From 2018 to 2021, Erica served as a legislative aide to County Legislator Kitley Coville. Erica was elected in her own right to the Westchester Board of Legislatures in November 2021. And your accomplishments are so numerous. I'm not going to go through them all, but I will personally attest that Bedford and all of the districts in your district are better for having you there, and you are the most present, open, communicative legislator I could imagine having.
Well, thank you. That's a wonderful entrance, and to get to follow on Shelley's coattails. Shelley is my hero. She is truly a fantastic state senator and representative and voice for labor. She is the bomb.
She is absolutely amazing and a model for us all. So as you're thinking about election day, what issues do you think people are thinking about as they're headed to the ballot box?
Well, first off, I want to remind everyone, I think you've already said this, polls are open till 9 p.m. So if you're listening to this and you haven't voted yet, your vote is your voice. We need everyone to turn out. Turnout is really critical this year. Going back in time to a different point, we had a Republican county legislator for this district. See, that just makes you cough right there. And why? Primarily because turnout was terrible, because people didn't come out to vote on these local elections. And so I, at that point, was running a touring theater company. I was not working in government. I wasn't working in politics, although I had many, many years of activism and organization under my belt. And we decided to turn that around. We decided to get voters engaged. We decided to get voters to turn out on these off-year elections, to educate them on local issues. And we made a commitment to start knocking all the doors in the district. And so that makes a huge difference. It makes a huge difference in turnout, and turnout makes all the difference on who represents us at the end of the day. So to get those of us who are Democrats or unaffiliated but leaning onto the left side of things out to the polls, it definitely takes voter contact. It takes understanding what the issues are. It takes speaking person to person about kitchen table issues, whatever the issues are for each and every household, so that people can understand why their vote matters. But without that happening, we had Republican representation. Yep. And so I just want to say that I know they were looking to turn the clocks back on us all, particularly in the North, particularly for every legislative district in CD17. We know that every single one of us were given an opponent so that they could have an opportunity to beat us back. And I really think that while obviously the votes are not done, we still have people coming in to vote. I think they're going to find they made a big mistake, because in reality, voters are very concerned with the things that are happening federally. They're very concerned about things that are happening with SNAP, as an example. They do not appreciate a government and representation as we have in Mike Lawler, and how he is mishandling the issues, and even how he talks about what he's doing. So we are seeing a really positive message at those doorways. We heard it over and over again. People were, I'm worried I'm not going to be able to vote again. I'm absolutely showing up. We will absolutely be there. So I think we're seeing what you would expect to see: really engaged, concerned people who are not only concerned about themselves, but also concerned about their neighbors. And that's really what you want to see in community.
Absolutely. And one of the things that the senator mentioned, which I think you just echoed, and which was surprising to me, honestly, is the candidates that were picked to run, often on these nondescript party lines.
Right.
It wasn't just a matter of ideology. I think it was a matter of competence or an experience or incompetence. I mean, like, some of these people, their records are so thin, but they were plucked to run and run on a platform that's often kind of pre-made. Right.
We had Republicans who, in the dark of night, right after last year's election, rebranded themselves as Democrats so that they could try to run on Democratic lines, even if they had run as Republicans before. We've had third-party lines created so that people weren't running on the Republican line, so that what party affiliation they had was muddy. And I don't blame them. I wouldn't want to run on the Republican line. Who would want to run on that record? That record is toxic up here. On the other hand, these are not necessarily always people who are willing to actually cast off that record and separate themselves truly from the folks who are in leadership. They're working with Mike Lawler. They are taking pictures happily with him. They're appreciating his endorsement in some cases. It's just, it's a game. But the stakes are not funny at all. They are very real, and we are seeing it in our communities as people are being disappeared before our very eyes. People are on the verge of losing their SNAP benefits. Our Head Start programs have no money. So for families, that's catastrophic. We are living the reality of the decisions that are being made in Washington, D.C. right now. And they may want us to believe that those are the faults of the Democratic Party, but that is not the case. And we need to keep reminding people that not only was the administration required to fund SNAP, 2 courts have announced that they were required to fund SNAP. And today, yet again, our Trump doubled down and said that he is not going to fund them. That he may be all the very happy about his gilded ballroom and his new toilet and whatever else he's building and doing, but he has no problem letting his people starve. And you know, people here are not buying that. Nobody wants to buy that.
Nope. And it's just, it's not good policy making. And as you said previously, sometimes the most important elections are the most local ones. So what is your advice to someone who's like, it's late, my vote doesn't matter right now? What is your call to action for them?
My call to action is everyone's vote matters. All you have to do is look at communities and places where the government is looking at taking away or undercutting their right to vote to realize how important that vote matter is. We know that we have tight races up here. Mine might not be one of them, but we have other local races which may be very, very tight. So depending on which community you are in, that vote may matter enormously. But in addition, as Americans, this is our commitment. It's our commitment to each other. It's a commitment to our democracy, which is very much under threat. We all have to keep turning up to vote. We have to keep turning up to support our neighbors and our community members who right now are having a really rough time. And there's no better way to do it today than by casting your vote.
Amen. Erica, thank you so much for taking a little bit of time out of your election night to join.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Kevin, for all you're doing.
Okay, talk soon.
Thanks.
For the record, I was out canvassing the other day, and someone drove up, seeing the little placards I was carrying, and they yelled out, "I love Erica Pierce!" And I don't think it was. It's not. I don't think it's a unique circumstance, but that is like the power of local government, really getting to know your community and have representatives that know your community. And so, with that, I'd love to take us from Westchester up to lovely Putnam County and bring up Jen Cocola-Monaco, who's the Putnam County Democratic Party chair. Jen first campaigned in 1996 on the Clinton-Gore re-elect ticket. She's schooled in organizing and political polling and campaigns across California. She's active in Putnam County with the Putnam County Democrats since 2012. Carmel Town Chair from 14 to 22, County Chair since 2023. She ran on making Putnam a more unified, more organized, more relevant to the campaigns that occur across the district. And my goodness, is it not going to be relevant and important come 2026. 2025, in no small part, thanks to Jen, her organization, and the team that she has seen the highest fundraising and strongest candidate slate in a long time, with candidates on all 6 towns on the ballot. She's gearing up for the county executive race in NY-17 next year. It is a pleasure. Jen, it's nice to see you.
So nice to see you. Thanks for having us.
Of course.
I'm very happy to be here. I'm always happy to keep Putnam in the mix as we have these conversations. It is an overlooked county, so trying to change.
Not in our household. We're up there every other weekend from the farms, the events, Home Depot.
It's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Thank you for your tax dollars. We appreciate it.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So what issues are on the ballot up there tonight?
So, really, what's on the ballot in Putnam is change. We have Putnam is quite a purple county, but it's not evenly distributed. So, we have a lot of strong Republican towns, strong Republican county leadership, and then yet nobody's happy with it, right? Nobody's happy with the results they're getting in local government. And it's because for too long, people haven't been challenged. And, like having somebody looking over your shoulder is what makes people work better. It's not really about making government more democratic. It's about making government work better for people. And for too long, that just hasn't been happening. And so everybody wants to complain and they just blame Albany without really taking responsibility for what they can be doing. That's, I think, what's going on for us is trying to tie, people up here maybe don't have a great image of what Democrats are, but they're not really happy with how it's happening now. So, if you want to keep doing the same thing and voting the same way, you're going to get the same results. And so what we've put forward this year is just tremendous candidates.
Tell me about them. Tell me about the candidates.
Yeah.
Let's name drop here.
Yeah. So we've got 3 county legislative candidates. Lenny Harrington's running in Mahopac. Brett Yaris is running in Carmel and part of Kent, and Thomas Sprague is in Southeast. And they are just like salt of the earth guys, working guys. Lenny's an electrician. Thomas owns a diner that's like 3rd generation. His grandfather founded it, runs a small business right there in town. Brett has been a football coach here in Carmel. He's a small business owner. These are not people that are like party diehards, right? They're people that just like work hard and take a look around and say, this place is not working for us. It's not working for my neighbors. And Brett in particular, has really run a campaign focused on being neighborly, and just like doing the right thing for the people around you. He's invested in this community. He's got kids in the schools. His mother lives here. And so like, these are people who, everybody up here likes to characterize Democrats as these like socialist freaks from New York City, right? And not that we might not have some of those in Putnam. Of course, there,
It's
but
a
like
big tent.
it's a big tent. Like we welcome all of them, but these are like your friends and neighbors and like people that work hard and go to work and coach their kids' soccer game, right? These are like just normal people wanting to do the right thing. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep. It's great.
So as we're thinking about this election, what is your call to action for folks who are listening in right now in New York? Like, sorry, not sorry. We have another 2.5 hours where folks can go out and vote. Right?
I just got back from voting. I made my son drive home from college to vote today because his first election. So he just got to vote in his first election. It matters. I was listening to the prior speakers, local government. I think so many people just don't pay attention to local government. They're busy. They're driving the kids around. They're doing whatever. They're commuting and they don't really pay attention unless something goes wrong. But then you look around and you're like, well, why don't we have the nice things that other towns have? Why don't we have these amenities? And it's because local government really affects your quality of life. And, while it may not be like broken, the garbage gets picked up and whatever, but yet there are so many things that could be better, that are just possible. Possible in Putnam if we had people who really like gave a crap, and so we need the voters to give a crap too, right? Because like showing up and making your voice heard means that you're saying this is not good enough. It's really not good enough. And, it's not terrible, but it's not good enough. And it could be so much better. We pay too much in taxes here for it to just be like, meh, could be better. It's like, come on.
Absolutely. And investing in candidates who really want to be like data-driven, evidence-based, help their friends and neighbors, shake up the status quo can be really healthy for local government.
Absolutely. People willing to be creative. Look around the country. Look what other towns, similar areas are doing, right? Look at grant opportunities. Look at, there's so many ways that if you really want to do the work, you could do the work.
You could do the work. And so with that, I have a bonus question for you. So we're going to bring Brett up next from the campaign trail. What question, if you were going to ask one of him, would you ask?
Well, so different Brett, just for the fact, right? We talked about Brett Yaris running for, we have 2 Bretts in Carmel, which is fantastic. Brett Wieland, who you're going to meet in a moment, running for town board in Carmel. And like, this is a guy who's just so bright and so charming. And he he's knocked on so many doors and like knocked in places that nobody's knocked for a long time. So like the experiences he's had, the conversations that he's had and getting to know his community, it's like, duh, that's what campaigns do. But, it's that listening, going to people's doors. He talked to somebody the other night that said nobody had ever knocked on their door for a local office. So he's like connecting with the community in a deeper way. And I just couldn't be more proud of him. He's just exactly the kind of person you want running for office. And
Awesome.
he'll be a great town board member.
I can't wait to see him on the board. And Jen, thank you so much for joining tonight and for representing Putnam County and all that you do.
Well, thank you. We look forward to fighting the good fight in NY-17 next year.
Let's get it done.
The road to Putnam.
It runs through Putnam, my friend. I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks.
Okay, so with that, I'm going to bring up Brett Weiland, who's a candidate for Carmel Town Board. He has over 15 years of hard project management experience in the public and private sectors, which has taught him how to work with both business and government to get things done. Like Jen was saying, that's what we're after here. After deciding that he wanted to shift to the public sector full-time, he earned his master's degree in public administration from Columbia University to be better equipped to serve his community. He now works at NYSERDA, managing a $50 million budget for programs that lower energy bills and make homes healthier and more comfortable, something we all need a heck of a lot more of. Brett, it's so wonderful to see you. Thank you for the campaign. I think you have to unmute yourself, but oh, I still can't hear you, which is ironic because you're so good at social media. I love your postings on Instagram and Facebook. Can you try now?
You still can't hear me?
There you go. You're perfect.
All right. Like everything says it's not muted.
Well, thank you.
Well, that's an apt start. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for running. What's been the most surprising aspect of the campaign so far?
Well, I'll tell you, it's kind of leading off what Jen mentioned, which one that was very gracious and speaks too highly of me. And I also would be glad to be confused by Brett Yaris or with Brett Yaris anytime. So
he's a pretty cool dude.
Please. But leading off what Jen said, I was terrified to knock doors. Like people don't want you at their door, I didn't think. And I was just like, this is going to be horrible. And it was fantastic. Like I enjoyed that so much more than any other part of the campaign. Just meeting people in the community and realizing how eager they are for change, how much they want to help you. And this goes for both sides too. Some of my most interesting conversations were with, we have a lot of split households. And when the person who answered the door wasn't the person on my list, that was many times the most interesting conversation I had. And it's just good people. And I think that's really what we're trying to show is that we're all people in a community together. We're not what you may hear and believe about the other side when you're online or in whatever bubble you get your information from. We're just neighbors and we want largely the same things. And we want people who are going to listen to us and try to give those things to us.
We need more of that. And so for folks sitting and listening at home, like what is your advice to them? What is your call to action right now?
Well, if you live in Carmel or anywhere, go vote if you haven't. And people need, and so Eric obviously said her race is not as competitive in Carmel. That's not the case. And a lot of what people around here who are either in the middle or on Democrats or just unsatisfied, they need to have hope that there's a chance for change. Because as Jen mentioned, our town has not changed in 25 years. It's been the same leaders over and over again.
When you have the same clique making arrangements among themselves, it's really hard for a town to modernize, to change, to bring new ideas in.
So that it's bad for the leadership and they're not effective, but it's also bad for the community who loses hope that change is even possible and they just accept dysfunction as the status quo. And so there is hope. There are people out there who want to do good by you and are running for the people, not the position. And in order to get what you want, you have to go vote.
Yep. From state senate to town board, I appreciate you stepping up to vote and putting your name on a ballot. And I wish you the best of luck tonight. If I were there, I'd vote for you.
Kevin. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on as well.
Of course.
I'm honored.
Talk soon. So with that, I'd love to bring up my friend Chris Burdick, a state assembly member from Assembly District 93. Assemblymember Burdick joined the Assembly in January 2021, having previously served for 7 years as the supervisor of my town, the town of Bedford. He sits on the Bank's Correction, Environmental, Conservation, Housing, People with Disabilities, and Veterans Affairs committees. I don't know how he does all that. He also serves as the chair of the Subcommittee on Employment Opportunities for People with Disabilities, where he's been focused on promoting opportunities for employment opportunities in the public and private sectors. He's a prolific legislator with the passage of 14 bills in 2023 when he was named City and States one of their most prolific legislators. And since taking office, he has sponsored bills in the areas with people with disabilities, housing, LGBTQIA plus rights, women's reproductive rights, the environment, veterans issues. Before becoming town supervisor, Chris served as the attorney at Stewart Title Insurance Company of New York City. I didn't know he was an attorney. I don't like him any less. I like him probably a little more. But Chris Burdick, thank you so much for all that you do, including joining tonight. And just unmute yourself, and we're ready to go.
Well, it's really a pleasure to be here tonight with you, Kevin, and thank you for putting all of this together. And it was great hearing Brett and his enthusiasm, and it's going to be a great night. That's my prediction.
I'll take that to the bank. I don't know how many doors we've knocked, but we're going to hear from my friend Chris Vecchio soon, and he's going to tell us, and it's going to be an astounding number, a number of doors locked, because we're really trying to engage our whole district back in the electoral process in 2025, making sure we have qualified local representatives, and it's all on the road to 2026, right?
Absolutely. You know, Kevin, you hit the nail on the head. This election is so important for so many reasons. You mentioned 2026, and let me tell you that the Republicans have their eyes on these races, particularly now in my assembly district. 7 out of 9 of my municipalities overlap with Mike Lawler. And so they are really focused on these local elections. You can ask the folks in Pound Ridge or Lewisboro, and they're there. You know, the troops for Lawler are there. So it's very important for that reason. We have to show really good numbers. We have to not only win, but we have to win big. And so that's one really important reason why this election is so important. But in and of itself, our local governments are supremely important. They're the closest that people can get to their elected representatives. They're the ones who, on a day-to-day basis, most affect people's lives. And so those are very compelling reasons. And of course, at the county level, we want to get Ken Jenkins back in with big numbers. We want to get Tom Roach in. We want to get all of our county legislators in. And we can't take any of this for granted. So thank you for everything you're doing, Kevin. And, you know, so excited about today and excited about the enthusiasm and the energy that I see all over the county.
Well, thank you for all that you're doing. For folks that are just tuning in, they've gotten home, they're starting dinner, and they turn on their phones and they're watching something live. What advice would you have for them if they haven't voted yet?
Really simple. You know, the polls are open till 9 p.m. And I have to tell you, the very first time that I ran was in 2007 for Bedford Town Board. Mm-hmm. And I remember I was running with the late, great town justice, Kevin Ferranto. And he and I were knocking on doors up to 6 minutes of 9. And you know what? We got some people out who were able to get there just in time. And so, you need to go out there. If you haven't voted, please, please, please get out there now and vote.
Absolutely. Assemblyman Burdick, Chris, thank you so much for tuning in tonight and joining us.
Well, it's really a pleasure, and keep up the terrific work. And I'm sure that I'll see you on the trail. Take care.
See you on the trail. Take care. That was Assemblyman Burdick, a true staple in our community. I've gone to him, speaking of like the local community access, Before this year, I've gone to Chris, I've gone to Ellen, our supervisor. Community elections matter. They determine so much of how our day-to-day works, and these are the folks that you turn to when something in your community is not working. And I'd like to actually take us we went from Westchester to Putnam, back to Westchester. Let's go over the river and to Dr. Dana Stilley, Rockland County legislator for District 17. Dr. Stilley was elected to the Rockland County Legislature in November 2023 and was sworn into office just last year, January 2024. She's a lifelong Rockland County resident, attended South Orangetown schools for the duration, holds a bachelor's in science and economic and applied mathematics from Brown. She has an MBA in finance and management from Columbia, a doctorate in community college leadership from Old Dominion University. She's a real slacker. Dr. Stilley possesses years of experience in the financial industry, higher education administration, and teaching. She's also the president of the Rockland Negro Scholarship Fund, board of directors, and a board member of Meals on Wheels of Rockland County and Venture Together. And these are organizations that are never more critical than they are right now. And I am so pleased to welcome up Dr. Stilley.
Hi there, Kevin. I'm having a little problem hearing you, though.
Oh, you are? That's no good. Can you hear me okay? Well, we'll come. How about we come back to you? Okay, we're going to come back to you. Okay. So Dr. Stilley, we'll just leave you in anticipation there because she's an amazing legislator in Rockland County, but I'm going to bring up her colleague and friend, Patrick Carroll, State Assembly member from Assembly District 96. Assemblyman Carroll was elected to the New York State Assembly in November 2024. He's a graduate of Northeastern Law School, Wesleyan University. He's been a practicing attorney since 2008, admitted in New York, Massachusetts, and Rhode Island, and served as legal counsel to the Rhode Island Department of Corrections and the State Senate Labor Committee. He resides in Bardonia with his wife and 4 daughters. I don't know how he does that. And his effort to enrich our community includes serving as a basketball coach, supporting the Special Olympics, and participating in Keep Rockland Beautiful. I am so pleased to be able to welcome up Assemblyman Carroll. Nice to see you.
You as well, Kevin. And so I'm so happy to be here, and I'm happy to see my colleague, Assemblymember Burdick, and I also was happy to see my colleague and friend, Dr. Dana Stilley. And frankly, I was hoping to hear what she had to say because she can always say it better and more eloquently than I can.
She's going to be the closer, so no pressure. So how are things going in Rockland County tonight?
I think things are great. I'm here. I mean, anecdotally, in any election, you always hear about turnouts, turnouts big, et cetera, et cetera. But there's enthusiasm here, and the town of Clarkstown, where I live, as the majority of my district, we have a full slate of candidates on the Democratic side challenging the incumbency. And whenever you can do that and field a full slate of candidates, it's a good day. And as we both know when we chatted about briefly, this is local elections matter. But there's also a warm up and a showing for next year's election where everyone will be on the ballot again.
How is it exercise for us?
How is it exercise? I think it's similarly to what Assemblymember Burdick said. I think we want to show democratic enthusiasm. I think there's a message out there that what's going on in the national environment and what's going on in the local environment, it's not right, at the very least here in Clarkstown and here in Rockland County. And we need to show people that people will go out to vote, even if it's an odd year. We'll let our voices be heard.
If you're just tuning in and you picked up your little phone and you're on Facebook Live or Instagram Live, and if you haven't voted, what you doing? Just go out, text your wife, your spouse, your husband, make sure that everyone gets out. And
I think it's one of those situations. We were talking to the colleagues, and I said, look, I mean, we have young children. I have young children myself. Just say to your spouse, or partner, watch the kids for 5 minutes. I'm going to run out. Voting takes 10 or 15 minutes tops, and at the very least, you get a sticker. Number one.
Look at that.
Also, you let your voice be heard. It's all elections matter. We've seen in Rockland County in years past, there was one election when I was running, someone won/lost by 17 votes. So each vote matters in every election.
Every vote matters. Assemblyman Carroll, I so appreciate you coming on, calling people out in Rockland County and Westchester and Putnam and Dutchess. Get out and vote. If you're tuning in right now, that is the message. It's pretty simple, right?
It's simple. Go out and vote. Let your voice be heard. They say you can't complain if you don't vote. So get out and then start complaining tomorrow. Whether your person won or lost, at least we can have a conversation and warm up for next year. Next year is going to be a huge election, national, state, local, all on the same ballot. It's going to be interesting.
It's time to work out, folks. Thank you so much for joining.
Kevin, a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Talk soon.
Bye-bye.
So we're going to try Dr. Silly again. Dr. Silly, are you ready? We're going to bring you on stage and we're going to see if this works. Okay. Now you have to unmute and are we rolling?
We are rolling.
Hey, look at that.
No technology problems anymore.
I love it. But we're pivoting here because that's what we do. That's what Democrats do. How are you today?
I'm good. It's been a busy day, as you can imagine, but I'm good. Working the phones a little bit.
Yeah.
Really just trying to still encourage people to get out there. We have what? Almost
over
a little
2
less
hours.
Yes,
it's like a lifetime. Yeah. Yep. Get out to vote. And you know what, everyone who's watching, the lines are probably not long right now. So you can get in and out and then pick up some ice cream. At least that's where my head is right now. But Dr. Silly, what issues are on the ballot this year in Rockland County?
So I think, of course, one of the big issues is affordability. And I think that can expand to mean many things: housing, food, childcare. And so while those exact issues may not be on the ballot, it is important to elect local folks that share your value.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so there's been a lot of talk about the lack of affordable housing here throughout the county. I think we are approximately 5,000 units short, and there really needs to be some real movement, collaboration on how we're going to really address that in a safe and affordable manner for everyone. I've heard others already on this evening talking about SNAP and the major concern for food insecurity that just is running rampant across the community.
Can I ask you a question? Like with all of this chaos going on at the federal level, and we certainly don't want to elect that at the local level, but what can people do right now to help out?
Well, we have across the county, there are stations where folks can deliver food in every single town hall. Across the county, people can deliver food. They can also deliver checks. If they're really uncertain, please reach out to people who are coordinating this massive effort for us to be sure that everyone across the county is being fed as best that we possibly can.
Dr. Stilley, what's your call to action tonight?
Listen, local elections matter, right? Local elections matter. And I think people forget that. And you know, I've been kind of hearing across the day, oh, turnout seems to be pretty low. These are terrible numbers.
No, that's the horrible news. Get out.
Get out and vote. If you care about, you know, your roads, public safety, how your tax dollars are being spent, you must get out and get to the ballot between now and 9 p.m.
There you go. I so appreciate you coming on and all the work that you do in Rockland. Folks think the world of you. Thank you for all your service.
Thank you. I appreciate everything that you're doing to get the news out there and to encourage everybody to get to the polls.
Get to the polls. We're just getting started, man.
How about that? Have a great night.
You too. And with that, I'm going to bring up my friend, Senator Pete Harcum, and then I'm going to pivot and we're going to get some data from Chris Vecchio on poll turnout right now and how we're looking across the district. Senator Harcum was elected to the New York State Senate in November 2018. He was reelected in 2022, 24, and he's now currently chair of the Senate Environmental Conservation Committee. Through his 3 terms in office, he's become one of the most productive members in the Senate. We are so lucky to have both him and Senator Meyer, I'll just say. He worked to make the 2% property tax cap permanent, delivered record aid to education, addressed the opioid crisis by doubling the minimum treatment times and reducing barriers to life-saving treatments. He is a champion of the environment. I can't even list all of his accomplishments and the bills that he passed listening to his constituents, but I will point out two that really stuck out to me. He's a leading voice to hold utilities accountable for their failed responses and pricing hikes. If you've been watching him on social media, I have to get some tips from him, and I might ask him a question about that. And he's also had 13 food drives to fight hunger, something that's never more important than it is right now. Senator Harckham, it's so nice to see you.
Hey, Kevin, great to be with you. Thanks for having me.
Of course, of course. How are you feeling tonight?
You know, we're pretty optimistic. Turnout has been good for a local election. Mm-hmm. We've got a lot of talented Democrats running, many for re-election who deserve re-election. And then we've got some very talented challengers. For the first time up in Putnam County, we have a number of candidates running. So, you know, it's going to be a good night for Democrats. There will be some close races in historically close towns like Yorktown. Yeah. But I think overall it's going to be a good night. I think Democrats are understanding the threat to our democracy, mm-hmm. and people are taking their right to vote very seriously.
And I see you out there with us every week, shoulder to shoulder, knocking doors, canvassing with us. Thank you for your service.
Well, thank you for everything you're doing.
Yeah. So, and I also see you every night on social media. What tips do you have for new candidates getting in about the value of engaging with folks, coming to people literally where they are?
You know, you got to hit them on all platforms. You know, we still have weekly newspapers. So for certain audience, that's important. Social media, I'm learning a lot from my younger staff. You know, we've got some talented folks here, but really, you know, video and connecting with people directly. They need to hear from me directly, how I feel, what we're doing, what we're accomplishing, what our challenges are. And so, you know, there's never enough content. And one of the things about posting a lot is folks, even folks who may not be inclined to agree with me on issues, say, wow, I see you everywhere. You know, yeah. How do you do that? And, you know, it's a lot of coffee, obviously, but, you know, it's really a good tool for the people who pay my salary, which is the public, to see what they're getting each and every day.
So you have, what is your call to action now with 2 hours left or so and before polls close in New York?
Well, what we've been saying is a lot of Democrats are focused on next year's midterms. Mm-hmm. And the easiest way for us to lose the midterms is to not take this election seriously. We can't give the other side a platform going into the midterms next year. We need every Democrat to come out. And if you don't think your right to vote is under attack, it is. You need to own your right to vote this year. You need to exercise that right to vote, and come on out.
Sounds good. Thank you so much for joining Senator Harckham on election night.
Thank you, and thanks for, this is a great event you're doing tonight. So thank you, and always great to see you, Kevin.
Always great to see you. Talk soon. And with that, I'm actually going to pivot and go, and I want to talk to my dear friend, Chris Vecchio, who's one of the smartest election analysts that I have had the pleasure of meeting. See, here you are. Yeah, here you are. Chris Vecchio is a Bedford district leader who has worked on races at all levels over the past decade. Since moving home, he's parlayed his experience into helping the Bedford slate and the county legislator, our dear Erica Pierce, with their messaging and voter outreach efforts. And so my questions for you tonight are about data. How is turnout looking across the district?
Turnout's really strong. We have about 158,000 votes counted thus far countywide, with the election, of course, running until 9 p.m. tonight. So if you haven't voted, go vote. But the prior cycle, 2021, we had about 165,000 votes cast. Mm-hmm. So turnout is running high. It's running high everywhere. Here in LD2, we have about 14,100 votes cast already. For comparison, in 2021, when Erica ran against Gina Arena, there was about 16,500 votes cast in that race. So turnout is high right now, and it looks like it's going to surge into the end of the evening.
Excellent. So if you haven't voted yet and you're watching this, don't be left out. Don't be the person who's like meeting with your friends.
The water's
tomorrow.
Warm.
Yeah, come on in. Come on in. What issues do you think are driving people to the polls tonight?
You know, I don't want to pull a page from what's happening in New York City, but it's really affordability, right? Living in Westchester is supremely expensive. It's difficult for people who grew up here to move back here. And you could see how Democrats locally have taken on the view of addressing the economic materialism as a basis for their messaging. Ken Jenkins talking a lot about affordability, about housing, about safety, right? Tangible things. You could see that in a lot of the literature that Erica herself has put out, that Vedot's put out, our local Bedford Democrats, focusing on the things that here, for example, we're the safest town in New York, 2 straight years. We've been tax cap compliant 4 years running. We've maintained our AAA bond rating. You know, people are happy here. And so they want to keep this way of life moving forward. And so we're sticking to the messaging that impacts the kitchen table issues again, in that vein of the FDR or LBJ or even Obama type of Democrats once again, and eschewing the past 10 years of failed messaging, which produced a second Trump term.
Yeah. I love that we're coming home and we're building a tremendous base here in 2025 that we're going to take in 2026. But the strategy is not one that hasn't gone unnoticed by Representative Lawler, who, while he's campaigning for the governor of New Jersey, has endorsed and has pushed out a bunch of proxy candidates across the district. Do you think his endorsement is helpful or hurtful this year?
I don't think it's moving the needle either way. A few months ago, we had Somers elections, and he did a robocall there, and the candidates for which he did the robocalls lost, which is interesting because Somers isn't necessarily the most left-leaning area in northern Westchester. But to that point, you know, to give the congressman some credit, all of the towns with which he would have to run for re-election in next year, he got the local parties to prop up candidates, effective, ineffective, however they may be. And that's a smart strategy, right? If you think about that, you don't want voters to go cold. If they go cold, they're less likely to vote for you. So you got to just keep them engaged. He'll keep the base of the Republican Party there. So that's really what he's doing. Helping with Erica, actually, and I'm in her kitchen right now. She decided to serve her campaign supporters a nice dinner tonight.
Oh, that's
those have been
so
volunteering with her. You know, I'll point out that we haven't seen any communications from the opponent in over 2 weeks. There's been no social media posts for 2 weeks. So he's kind of mailing it in. That doesn't mean that we're mailing it in here. Between text, calls, door knocks, the Pierce team contacted over 20,000 voters this cycle, which for a local race, that's a lot. But the goal is to talk to as many people as possible, because we do have more in common with our neighbors than what some would lead us to believe. And we just need to get back to the basics of having those conversations.
And speaking of not mailing it in, what's your call to action for folks tonight?
Go vote. If you haven't voted, go vote. If you've already voted, reach out to your local party, find a way to help contribute. I know right now in Bedford and Mount Kisco, we have phone banks going on. We just got the 6 p.m. data dump. So we're removing the voters who have already participated and trying to get in touch with the folks who still said that they will vote but haven't done so yet. And that's an easy way. We actually have Bedford Democrats right now at the trains in Bedford Hills and Katona passing out lit to remind people to go vote as they come home from work. So even though there's no local race here, we're still doing our part to keep a thriving democracy going.
And I'll also give a shout out to Tom, who is in Mount Kisco, getting folks similarly out to vote. It's a competitive race there. Wherever you are in the district, vote. And Chris, I so appreciate you. Thank you for coming on.
Cheers.
Okay. So I also want to now bring up a very special guest, Vedot Gashi. He's the Westchester County legislator for the 4th District, and he's also the chairman. And I'm going to take a moment here to read his bio a little bit more in full, because I just found it so moving and impressive. He was born in Kosovo, formerly Yugoslavia, in April of 1978, and at the age of 4, he and his family fled the oppressive socialist regime to the United States. He first moved to the Bronx and later put down permanent roots in our lovely town of Yorktown. He's one of 5 children, 4 of whom still reside in Yorktown, where they're raising their families. He went on to college at Connecticut College. He got a JD, which I didn't know, from Seton Hall University. And during his studies, he interned with 2 of his heroes, Supreme Court Justice Sonia Sotomayor, and then Second Circuit Court of Appeals and Congressman Lee Hamilton on the House International Relations Committee. Upon passing the bar, he was called to service in Kosovo to join the US-EU effort to help establish the newly formed nation, first through a grant from the Rockefeller Brothers Fund and later through USAID, the now defunct, thanks to this administration, USAID and the United Nations. While in Kosovo, Vedat's hard work led to remarkable accomplishments, including drafting of some of Kosovo's foundational legal documents. He has a tremendously impressive resume, and upon returning home in Yorktown, he followed in the footsteps of his family's small business success in real estate by opening up his own small business. He has it all, and I am so pleased that he's our local chairman and leader in Westchester County. Vedat, it's so nice to see you.
Great to see you. I mean, honestly, where were you, Kevin? I should have had you on the stumping for me these past couple of months. Would have been super useful. Thank you for that. That was very kind.
Of course. We have a year to go. How are you feeling tonight?
I'm feeling good. I'm at a train station right now. I don't know if it's kind of dark.
Hey, look at
Apologies.
this.
We've been working hard. I'm kind of jealous of Erica's opponent who's not showing up, but my opponent has been, and actually we've been in a couple of the same spots. It's been a tough race. The Republicans are targeting the seat. They raised a bunch of money here. They're spending a bunch of money here, and unfortunately, they're spending it in the most annoying way: attack ads, full of lies, and actually, we had we had the Fair Campaigns Practices Committee ruled like the unfair campaign practices multiple times over. And I was able to, share that yesterday. They just doubled down on lies. They're like, no, they didn't. It could be infuriating. But I will say, in our district especially, votes are up a lot. In some instances, early vote was up 2 times for the Republicans, and they're giving it their best shot. It's been kind of heartening to see our community come together and fight back. I was with Pete Harcum earlier. We have some awesome local candidates in Yorktown. Newcastle's unopposed, but they're awesome. They're actually at the train station right now with me. And that adversity is a challenge, but it's great to it's a great opportunity to rise to the challenge.
Yeah, I mean, especially with your background and the theme of this evening, like the local elections are so important inherently in and of it themselves, but they also reflect they allow us to select individuals who reflect our values, which is something that we very much feel, I think, right now as a nation and particularly in our region. How do you think about the local versus national when you're going out to cast your ballot?
Well, the reason I decided to run in the first place, I ran after Trump got elected in part by demonizing undocumented immigrants and Muslims. And I happen to be Muslim and a former undocumented immigrant. And just felt so, so disgusted by the rhetoric at the time. That's what spurred me to run initially. Running in local politics, we're talking about sewer projects, roads, things that, matter to people in such intimate ways. My opponent has chosen to ignore those things. And he's running on repealing the Immigrant Protection Act. We did a clinic access bill when, right to life or abortion, anti-abortion, frankly, extremists stormed the Planned Parenthood here. We did a clinic access bill. He wants to repeal that.
Take us back.
What's that?
Take us back.
Well, he wants to exactly, but it's kind of infuriating to see that kind of national rhetoric trying to influence us here, and then some of the tactics again, sending out mailers with just lies. It's kind of rough, but I will say, I don't think voters like it. And I like a good fight. I like a good reason to get out there, and makes the work that we're doing all the more important.
So as you're now working for us, even at 7 p.m. at night at a train station, what is your call to action for folks who are just tuning in?
First off, Shelley Mayer, I tuned in too earlier. I didn't know that she ran a couple of times and lost. I lost my first time. I want people to run. We need good people running out there. She lost her first one. I lost my first one. Awesome to go out and be a part of this process. And I think a bit of what I've been doing is, first off, make friends with good data nerds who can look up and tell you who's voted, who hasn't, and then call your friends, call people who you take for granted are voting, oftentimes aren't voting. My lighting is better because the train's passing by right now. This is
This perfect live stream moments here.
yeah, but it's every vote sincerely counts. I think so far about 15,000 have voted in my district. More people voted early in my district than did in Yonkers, did any other district at all.
Yep.
And again, they're targeting us, but I'm kind of excited that, again, with that fight, they're bringing the fight too, and it's forcing you to fight back, and we're doing it. So this is going to, I think, a signal for what's to come.
Well, Godspeed. If you're listening, get out and vote, everybody. It's so nice to see you. And with the campaign, this is a milestone, but we have a big year ahead.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for including me in this, and thank you for covering these important races. And we're going to be here next year as well, so we'll see you then as well.
Let's go get them. Talk soon.
Thank you, Kevin.
Bye. That was Vedat Gashi, an amazing legislator for Westchester County and chairman of the legislature. Now I'd love to call up the amazing star of Briarcliff Manor, who is on the campaign trail on a daily basis, who I admire thoroughly and can't wait to spend more time with. Susan Chatsky, how are you? You're on mute.
Hi, I'm so sorry. Hi, how are you?
Good.
I look forward to spending more time with you also.
Yes, thank you so much for being on the campaign trail. I know that there's someone else I think that we should probably bring up now, and
Most likely he should be included. Yeah.
I'll bring him up. Peter.
It's so unfair. I married poorly because nobody cares about me ever. Just get repeated all the time.
Well, now I'm gonna do your brief bio, and then I'd love for your call to action for tonight. Peter is a lifelong Westchester Democrat who brings a dual perspective of private business and public service to the campaign trail for running in Congressional District 17 for Mike Lawler's currently held seat. He is the CEO of Napa Group LLC, a software company he founded more than 35 years ago, and he's been active in Briarcliff Manor politics for 20 years. First elected as mayor, he's now served as deputy mayor since 2019. He's won public office 5 times so far. Peter and Susan, 2 questions. Like, how is the campaign? What have you been seeing on the campaign trail, and what's your call to action for folks?
I'll tell you the first thing. People have to learn that congressional races are in even years. I got at least 8 text messages today from really good friends wishing me good luck, which is amazing that people aren't paying enough attention or are paying so much attention.
Well, it's goodwill.
I think the best thing that we've learned is how many people in our community have been willing to step up to provide service for their community. It's like just so much richness in this area. So many people want to be here and contribute and help, and we're very, very fortunate.
That's awesome. So for tonight, like, people, it's 2 hours, a little bit less than 2 hours, but 2 hours is a long time. You could do almost anything in 2 hours. What is your call to action for those folks?
Listen, I think people don't realize how important local elections are, especially to the quality of your life, right? You are going out and you are voting for something that's directly going to impact your property taxes, your DPW services, how your roads are paved or plowed, your police departments, your fire departments, the water that's coming to your house, the sewer that you should have at your house if your village or town provides it, the rec programs that are being offered by your community, garbage pickup, recycling, the supply of housing in your community. All of this is determined tonight. That's why you need to get out there and vote. I mean, it's great. We can talk about how our country is falling apart, how we really need better representation in Congress, but everybody needs their hometowns taken care of. And these in general are, either in Briarcliff, they're all volunteer positions. In other communities, there's a little bit of slight pay, maybe
Yeah.
you get a little health insurance. I can tell you, whatever it is, it's not worth the thousands and thousands of hours that people in local office tend to put in just to improve their community.
They're dedicating themselves to their community. These are important elections. You would know. Get out. And Susan, what should you do?
You should vote. And also, there are propositions on your ballot, like Prop 1 that's going to protect our public parks in New York State, which are under threat right now under the Trump administration. So if you want us to have beautiful public parks and protect those, please go and vote yes on Prop 1. I'm allowed to say that. And don't forget to go to the back of your ballot.
Peter, Susan, it's so nice. Yeah, one thing.
I got to throw out one last thing.
Yeah.
Even if you have an uncontested election, show up to vote, because it sends a really nice message to your neighbors who are giving their own time week and week and week to improve your village. Show them you care. Just show up and vote. Even
show up and vote.
Peter Chatsky, Susan Chatsky, thank you so much for running and for giving a little bit of time tonight.
You are
good night,
welcome.
Kevin.
Thanks for what you
do. Thank you.
Have a good night. And with that, I'd love to bring up our next guest, who is John Sullivan. We're closing out with a candidate sweep of such talented people. John Sullivan is a former FBI intelligence analyst and section chief with nearly 17 years of experience working to combat security threats at home and abroad. He was raised in a working class family. He was the first in his family to earn a 4-year degree. In the FBI, John worked his way up into leadership positions, serving presidents of both parties and taking on foreign adversaries and terrorists in the Middle East, drug cartels and human traffickers at our southern border, and investigating the January 6th insurrectionists. He left the FBI in April 2025 as one of the most senior gay officials in the Bureau, and I'm so happy, as I'm sure all of us are, that he is putting his name forward as a candidate in New York 17. John, it's nice to see you.
Good to see you, Kevin. It's hard to follow Peter and Susan.
Yeah, well, I know they're a pretty dynamic duo. Yeah, how are you?
I'm doing great. It's been a busy few days. Local elections that we've been talking about are the key to really our democracy. It's the first and last lines of defense. So being out there and canvassing, the campaign has really been in full swing for our local electeds and making sure that we're getting out there and knocking on every door possible, including my 6-year-old son.
There you go. So what issues are on the ballot near you this year?
Yeah, it's Rockland, right? And so there's been a lot of things. In particular, I know there was talk about Clarkstown. So there's a lot of key issues that are happening in Clarkstown, whether it be code enforcement and other things, that we have a great slate of candidates who are challenging those who are sitting on the board right now and not doing anything to really improve our lives. And so the opportunity has really been to get out there and talk with folks, let them know that there is an alternative. A lot of times in Rockland and even parts of Westchester, folks don't always realize that there are Democrats who are campaigning for those positions and have a really strong view to put forward. So we've been knocking on doors everywhere from Croton to Putnam to here in Rockland and doing everything possible to get as many folks elected as possible who actually have our best interests at heart.
So 1 hour, 50 minutes left. What's your call to action?
Vote, 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 vote.
Thank you, John. I'm glad we're all on the same page with that script.
Yes. No, it's absolutely important because, whoever the nominee is going into next year is going to benefit a lot from the practice, as Pat Carroll said, that we'll get in this rep and making sure that we have folks who are on that ground level that our next congressperson can speak to and make sure that they're bringing back what is needed here in our district to make sure that we're bettering the lives of all the constituents.
The road to 2026 leads right through 2025.
That's right. That long, long road.
That long, long road. But we're on it together, my friend. John, so nice to see you.
No, good seeing you. Thanks, Kevin. Thanks for doing this. And good luck with the cold.
Thank you. Talk soon. This cold, as many parents who are watching, it's that time of year. It's just like you see a kid get sick and then you just plan out like, what do I have to do next week? But that's we'll roll with it. And next up, I'd love to introduce my friend Effie Phillips Staley, who's a nonprofit executive with a decades-long work history in education, culture, and social justice. She's currently serving her second term as trustee in the wonderful, beautiful village of Tarrytown, where she prioritizes creating safe and walkable streets, building more affordable housing, boosting climate change resilience, and supporting local businesses. She's prioritizing the things that we've heard over the past week from so many of our local mayors that they're prioritizing. It's not surprising to me that she's ahead of the curve. She grew up in a middle-class family in Sacramento, California. Her mother immigrated to this country from El Salvador. Her father was a war veteran who served the United States Army in World War II and the Air Force during the Korean War. Effie, it's so nice to see you again.
It's always great to see you, Kevin. I'm amazed what you are doing tonight. It's like a marathon.
It is a lot. We have a lot of territory to cover, a lot of topics to cover with one single message, which is everyone needs to get out to
vote.
vote.
Oh
It's the muscle we all need to exercise tonight, and an hour and 50 minutes left. What are the issues that are on the docket for you tonight?
Oh my goodness. The most important thing, and actually what I've really loved doing, is getting out and canvassing with everyone who's running for the local elections, because I can certainly relate, having been in 2 bitterly contested local elections. It's actually like a wonderful team sport, though. It brings people together who care about sort of critical issues, who really care about local communities. And like I'm sure everyone has said today, that this is where it really happens, like at the local level, housing, infrastructure. We are the local electeds who sort of implement the plans that are demanded of us by the, for good reason, by the people who vote, and they're supported by our representatives at the federal level, because it can't all fall on the local tax base. We like in Tarrytown, we have an H bridge. We have to replace it. Like, it's more than the annual budget of the village.
If you want the country to look different, we have to start from building from the bottom up sometimes. And that's what we're doing tonight. And so for everyone who's tuning in, who just might have picked up their phone and now see our faces and like, who are they and what are they talking about? Do you want to give them the call to action?
Oh my goodness. Like, participate in local democracy. 100%. Like everybody says, like, think global, act local.
Yep.
This is where we implement the changes that add up to global change, right? So whether it's updating our electrical grid, whether it's our, again, the infrastructure, and also really fighting for local rights, like really taking care of people, taking care of our neighbors in this moment when SNAP benefits have been taken away. All of these things, we can talk about it on a federal level, but we do it right here in our towns.
And so everyone should get out and vote. Effie, it's so nice to see you again, and I know that we're going to be talking more soon, right?
Yes, keep on trucking, man. I don't know how you're doing it. Like, not much longer for you, I hope.
No, I'm going to bring on our closer now. Effie, it's so nice to see you.
Good night. Take care.
Have a great night. So Effie Phillips Staley, if you haven't checked her out, check her out. She has a great agenda online, as do Peter and John. And now for our closer of the evening, Jessica Reinman, NY-17 candidate. She's a child of New York City public school educators. She grew up in a middle-class union family on Long Island. She studied political science at SUNY Binghamton, received her law degree from Benjamin and Cardozo School of Law before working as a real estate lawyer in New York City, where she advised private equity funds on large-scale acquisitions and sales of real property. Big deals. Jessica then moved into law firm management, working to top 2 law firms, managing attorney recruitment, legal personnel, and continuing education. And in 2014, she started 914 Cares, for which she's best known for across the district to address poverty in Westchester, where she collaborated with over 160 local organizations to ensure that every Westchester family has the basic essentials they need to survive and thrive. When she left that post, the organization had a yearly operating budget of $2.5 million and was donating over 1.5 million items per year to families in need, and that need is pervasive. And this is Jessica Reinman. How are you?
Hi, Kevin.
So how are you? How are you?
I can't hear you.
Okay.
Which is really bizarre.
Yeah. So I'm gonna type in my question.
Other people.
How are you?
I can't hear you. Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll read your lips.
How
I'm at the Chappaqua
are
train station.
you?
I was just I'm at the Chappaqua train station. I was just handing out literature and getting people to vote. My third stop today to make sure people get out and vote. So I got that. I'm tired. I'm sure you're tired. And we just have more victory parties, hopefully, to go to all night long.
Jessica, it's nice to see you.
What? Bye. Everybody go vote, please. Local elections are so important. Thank you.
Thank you. I knew there was going to be one technical hiccup. We all know that that was going to happen. I did not predict it would happen in the last 30 seconds here. Everyone, thank you for tuning in. If you're tuning in on your phone, on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram, I'm actually seeing probably well over 100 people watching live across these platforms. It is really humbling to be able to talk to so many of our candidates across the district. This is the democratic process, and this is our opportunity to use it. My name is Kevin McAvey. I am a lifelong Democrat. And for Representative Lawler, if you're watching, I hope you're watching. We're just getting started. Everybody, have a wonderful night. Go vote. Go vote. Go vote. Talk soon.